was reading an article about the Merit Act and how it was one of the last chances to pass that legislation. What do you think that would do for the benefit of taxpayers in America?
Well, very simply, what the Merit Act does is it makes it so lazy, incompetent, or recalcitrant civil servants are able to be fired in an expedited manner while protecting their basic rights in terms of due process and particularly protecting whistleblowers. So when we talk about waste, fraud, and abuse in government, so often it's not the things that we actually think of somebody stealing a bunch of welfare payments and like. It's more public employees who aren't doing their job, who are writing children's books while on the public dime, and there's nothing that can be done about it under the current laws. And the Merit Act will change that.
So why don't you think the Republicans took this seriously sooner, and why do you think it's sort of this one of the last Mondays to do something about this?
Because the Democrats will filibuster it in the Senate, and so they don't want to bring something up that the Democrats will just filibuster, which is why we're pursuing a strategy of trying to put it onto an appropriations bill, the remaining appropriations bills. It would cover 8 of the cabinet level agencies at that point, allowing for those 8 agencies to be able to expeditiously fire bad employees, incompetent employees, lazy employees, and effectively change the dynamic in terms of how the bosses and the workers in the federal government actually relate to one another. Ironically, the people who like this are people who are the bosses, who are career civil servants, who are bosses, who regularly say to me, Rick, we can't fire people. We just put them in a corner because it takes up half of our lives if we try to fire somebody. So rather than trying to work around them we just work around them. We just put them in a corner, don't give them anything to do. They still collect their paycheck. They still get raises every 2 years, but they don't do any work for the public. And that's where a lot of the waste, fraud, and abuse is in this country. And that's what we have to fix.
So how did we get to this point?
Well, civil service laws have been very clear, and they've protected civil servants from being fired without an extraordinarily strenuous process. On average, it takes 9 months to get somebody fired. And in like the Department of Education, for instance, there's only been 10 civil servants fired in the last year, in the last report we looked at. So we're looking at a process where where you can't fire people because we're trying to protect civil service from political abuse, from somebody like the Obama administration coming in and saying, well, you're registered Republican, so we're firing you because of your voter registration. This doesn't do that. What this does is say, if you're lazy, incompetent, or you refuse to do your job, at that point, you can be fired in an expedited manner. And the main piece of this is it allows those employees to say, hey, they look around and they say, everybody's working now, so I'm going to work too. So it isn't just the people who are fired. It's the people who aren't fired who start doing their job as opposed to just sitting on their hands and doing other things because they know they can get away with it.
So we only have a couple seconds left, but what can the Trump administration do administratively to try and deal with what you're talking about?
Well, what needs to happen is we need the president to come out strongly for the inclusion of the Merit Act language into the appropriations bills so we can get it to at least cover half the government. I would encourage any of your listeners and viewers to go to firetheswamp.com. That's firetheswamp.com. And right there, you'll be able to get more information, and you'll be able to contact your congressman and urge them to make this a priority as we finish this lame duck session.
Great. Richard Manning, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So go to firetheswamp.com to try and tackle this issue. It's, to me, and I've seen this in teachers' unions and in schools across the country, it's a major issue that government is trying to deal with. Sometimes they're not trying to deal with it, but taxpayers end up losing in all of this. I'm Kyle Olson. Amanda Head. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on America's Voice Live.
Closed captioning for America's Voice is brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile gives
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
so much. You did a great job today. Thank you so
Appreciate
much
it.
for coming.
Anytime.
candidates
Let
that
me know.
support your values.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
Same quality, better prices, supporting a better cause. Close.